She banged on my front door so hard that even my dog jumped. Before I could reach the handle, she screamed from outside, "Open up!" I already called the cops. "You're getting removed today." I pulled the door open and saw her standing there, Karen from the HOA, holding a bright red notice that looked like she printed it at home. Her hands were shaking like she was angry at the whole world. "You cannot live here anymore," she said, waving that fake paper in my face. "You broke 3 HOA rules this morning." I took a slow breath. It's 6 a.m. What rules did I even break before sunrise? She smirked like she loved this moment. "Your truck is too big, your grass is too short, and your wife's old boots on the porch. Trash, against HOA appearance policy." I blinked, confused and tired. "Those boots belong to my wife. She just came back from training last night." Karen stepped forward until her nose almost touched my chest. "I don't care who your wife is. I run this neighborhood. You follow my rules or get out." Before I could answer, I heard sirens coming down the street. She turned around with the biggest smile. "Good, they're here. And this time they'll listen to me." 2 cops walked up, and right away she pointed at me like I was some criminal. "Arrest him. He's refusing to comply with HOA orders." "He threatened me." My eyes widened. What? I didn't even raise my voice. But the cops looked unsure. One of them whispered to the other. And for a second I felt that cold fear in my stomach. The fear that comes when you know you're innocent but someone louder is selling a better story. Karen crossed her arms. "Take him away. I am the HOA president. I have authority here." That's when I said quietly, "You might want to wait." She laughed. "For what?" "Your imaginary lawyer?" But I wasn't looking at her anymore. I was looking past her, toward the hallway inside my house. The door behind me creaked open. Heavy steps. The sound of a belt buckle, metal gear. Authority you can feel without seeing. The cops froze first. Their eyes locked on something behind me. Their posture shifted instantly, straight, respectful, alert. Karen spun around, annoyed. "Who is that?" "I didn't give permission for anyone." My wife stepped out in full uniform. Real uniform. Real badge, real rank. The kind that shuts every mouth in a 10-mile radius. Karen's smile died so fast it almost made a sound, and my wife, calm, steady, deadly quiet, said, "Who exactly is trying to arrest my husband? On his own property?" The cops didn't move. Karen didn't breathe. And for the first time since sunrise, I knew the real story was just getting started. She stepped forward, her uniform crisp. The badge glinted under the early morning light. The cops looked at each other, confusion and respect trading places. Karen opened her mouth, but my wife spoke first. "You need to step off my property," she said calmly. "Now." The taller cop cleared his throat and slowly lowered his hand from the holster. The other one held up his notebook. "Ma'am, we need clarification. HOA orders don't give police permission to arrest someone." His voice shook, as if he wasn't sure if he was supposed to be brave or just walk away. Karen scowled. Her fake notice flapped in the breeze. She glared at my wife. "That doesn't matter. I own this neighborhood. You don't own people's lives," my wife cut in. Her eyes were cold. "You're acting on lies." At that moment, I felt a weight lift off my chest. I took a step toward Karen. "You want to know what really happened?" I asked. "Fine." I reached inside my jacket and pulled out my phone, turning on the video camera. "This entire thing, your threats, your fake notice, your call to cops, it's all recorded." I held it up between us, screen glowing. The cops leaned forward. Karen paled. For a second, I thought she might snap. Instead, she tried to grab the phone. "Stop that." "Delete it," she yelled. One cop raised his hand. "No, she's under no order to destroy personal property." "Step back." Karen's face twisted. "You can't show that." "I'm HOA president," she hissed. My wife took a step closer. "Not anymore. You abused your power. You threatened a man, tried to call the police under false pretenses, tried to forcefully remove him from his home, on his own land." The second cop nodded toward Karen. "Ma'am, please come with us. You are under suspicion of harassment and impersonation." Karen staggered like a puppet with cut strings. She stared at the phone, then at the cops, then back at me. Her mouth opened, closed, nothing came out. As they walked her away, I watched her fade into the calm morning. The street was quiet again, except for my wife's steady breathing and the distant bark of my dog. I turned to the officers. Thank you, I said softly, for doing the right thing. The taller cop looked at me, then at my wife. Sir, ma'am, I'm sorry this happened. We'll make sure the report is clear. She won't get away with this. I nodded. Then I closed the front door, leaning against it. The red notice fluttered in the trash can near the porch. Inside, my wife grabbed my hand, squeezed it. We're safe. She said it softly, but with that same strength I saw moments ago when she stepped out in uniform. For a second, I thought we might finally breathe. But as I lowered my gaze, I saw one of our porch lights that Karen insisted we remove, still turned on. My heart pounded. Because we never touched that light, not yet. I realized she didn't just try to throw us out. She was changing our home, changing our life, bit by bit. And now we had to fight back harder. The moment I stepped onto the porch again, something felt off. The air was too still, too quiet, like the neighborhood was holding its breath. I walked toward the corner of the house where that porch light was hanging. My wife followed me, her boots making soft, steady sounds on the wood. When I reached the light, I stopped. The screws were loose. The wiring looked touched. Someone had tried to pull it out and failed. My wife leaned in closer, her jaw tightening. This wasn't just moved, she said softly. Someone tried to cut power to your camera feed. My stomach dropped. You think she didn't come alone, my wife murmured. She wasn't confident enough to confront you unless she had help. Right then, a thought hit me. I hurried inside, grabbed the tablet that connected to our security system, and pulled up the recording from last night. The footage loaded slow, like it didn't want to show us what was hiding inside. Then it played. At 2:14 a.m., a shadow moved across the yard. A person with a hood, gloves, and a backpack. They avoided the front camera, then stepped toward the corner with that porch light. My wife leaned closer. Her voice turned cold. Pause that. I stopped the video. She pointed at the person's left arm. Zoom in. When I did, my chest tightened. The hoodie had a small patch, HOA initials stitched into it, the same style Karen wore on her little fake authority jacket. My wife exhaled slowly. She sent someone to disable your cameras before confronting you this morning. She didn't want evidence. I felt anger crawling under my skin. So she planned this. The fake notice, the cops, everything. And she's scared now, my wife added. Because if she tried to kill the cameras, she knows there's something else here she missed. I frowned. Something else like what? She didn't answer. She walked straight to the garage door and pushed it open. A wave of cold air rushed out. Tools on the wall, boxes, my old truck. Nothing unusual. But she kept looking, moving carefully, trained eyes scanning every corner. Then she stopped. Her hand hovered over the wall near the breaker box. Come here, she said quietly. I stepped beside her and saw it. A small white envelope tucked between two pipes, almost hidden. No name on it, just a symbol. A symbol I recognized only because she had shown it to me once. A badge outline. A fake one. Used by people pretending to be law enforcement. Karen's authority. My wife didn't touch the envelope. She wasn't working alone, she whispered. And whoever helped her wasn't just HOA. A chill ran through my spine. You think they'll come back? My wife turned to me, her voice low but steady. They already did. Before I could ask what she meant, we both heard tires screech outside. A car door slammed. Then another. Heavy footsteps, more than one pair, moving fast toward our house. My wife reached for her belt slowly, calmly, like she already expected this moment. I stepped back toward the hallway, heart pounding. And then a deep voice shouted from outside. Open the door. We need to speak with the man of the house now. Except it wasn't police. And it wasn't HOA. It was something worse. The voice outside was firm, loud, and carried a weight that didn't feel official, but felt dangerous. My wife stepped in front of me without thinking, her hand resting near her duty belt, her eyes focused on the door like she could see through it. I whispered, Who are they? She shook her head slowly. Not police. But they want you scared. Don't open it. The pounding started, heavy fists shaking the whole frame. We know you're in there. Open up, another voice yelled. I stayed behind her, my heartbeat pounding in my ears. What do they want? My wife didn't answer. She moved to the front window and peeked through the edge of the curtain. Her face hardened. It's the same men from the footage. They came back. I felt a cold rush down my spine. Why would Karen send them again? She's already in trouble. My wife looked at me, then back at the window. She didn't send them this time. They're here for themselves. That scared me more than anything. These men weren't wearing uniforms, not even fake ones. Just dark jackets and gloves. People who don't want fingerprints left behind. They banged again, harder. Last warning. My wife raised her voice through the door. This is a private home. Step away from the property. Silence followed. A long, heavy silence. Like the world paused. Then one of the men laughed softly. Lady, you think this is still about HOA? My wife stiffened. Something changed in her face, like she finally understood what was really going on. She grabbed my arm. We need to go to the back, now. Before we could move, the doorknob twisted. They were trying to force it. Wood cracked. My wife stepped forward, her stance stronger than the door itself. Get ready, she whispered. But just then, sirens. Real ones, loud, close, fast. The men froze. I heard one of them curse under his breath. Tires screeched across the road, and 2 real patrol cars pulled up, lights flashing bright across our yard. The men backed away, hands up, caught between running and surrendering. One officer shouted, "Don't move!" Another tackled the first guy before he even reached the driveway. The other men were pinned in seconds. My wife opened the door just as the officers lifted the men off the ground. One cop looked at her and nodded respectfully. We reviewed the footage you uploaded earlier, ma'am. These guys were already on our radar. You caught them before we did. The leader of the group glared at me as they put cuffs on him. This isn't over. My wife stepped forward, her voice sharp. Yes, it is. They shoved him into the back of the cruiser. And for the first time all morning, the tension in my chest broke. I let out a breath I didn't even know I was holding. The officer turned to me. Sir, you're safe. They won't be coming back. I nodded, still shaken. My wife took my hand again. Her grip was warm, steady. Told you, she whispered, we don't lose. As the police cars pulled away, sunlight finally broke over the houses. The same street where Karen claimed she owned everything. Now quiet, peaceful, honest again. I looked at my wife, her uniform catching the light. I didn't fight for this country just to be pushed around on my own land, I said. She smiled softly. And no one gets to threaten our home, she added. Not HOA, not anyone. Together we stepped back inside, door locked, house safe, future ours again. And for the first time in days, it felt like home.